Will we ever get justice for this criminal piece of shit? Or better put, will this criminal piece of shit ever face justice? That's an open question. Almost certainly not, but not impossible. Fact of the matter is that he will probably avoid accountability for all his crimes for all time because of the stupidity of the American people. He should be in prison right now. He should be facing trial for his crimes, and he would be if he wasn't reelected. But it's not impossible. And if he does somehow face it, what would that look like? By the way, are you guys appreciating this up my nose camera angle? I apologize. Yeah, this is a very professional operation, as you can tell. Anyway, what would it look like? Well, he'd have to be out of office first. And because as long as he is president, there's no chance in hell that he's going to be prosecuted. And depending upon who... What the hell? I'm on a boardwalk that terminates to nothing. Is this a... Oh, for crying out loud. Hold on. Anyway, step one for legal accountability for this criminal is him leaving office. My preference would be him to be impeached and removed from office and then prosecuted. But one way or the other, he's going to have to leave office before we can criminally prosecute him. Now, impeaching and removing him is not impossible. I know people think it's impossible just because we've been screwed over for so long, and this guy has gotten away with it at every step of the way. He's gotten away with his crimes. And again, it's because we're surrounded by morons in this country. I'm in the South right now at a beach. I hate the beach, by the way, if you haven't picked up on that. I'm in MAGA country. These people are responsible for this criminal. Anyway, more than anyone else, you know. There's MAGAs everywhere, but they're certainly concentrated down here. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, so step one, getting him out of office. Impeachment and removal. Yeah, it's possible. And I've said this, and I shall repeat it, because it is true. Donald Trump can be impeached and removed from office, but it's only going to happen when members of Congress are more afraid of us than they are of Donald Trump and his cult. Now, to that end, we're not anywhere close to that yet, but we're making positive forward gain on this issue. I mean, now we have a Republican senator, by the way. Yeah, it's Maine, it's Susan Collins, but a Republican senator up for re-election saying she doesn't want Donald Trump's endorsement. So that's positive. Have you seen his poll numbers lately? 37% in one recent poll. Several recent polls have him in the 30s. He's underwater on every single issue. He's a horribly unpopular person. So we're heading in the right direction. There's very little chance, not impossible, but things would need to change radically from what they are right now. But it's not impossible that this Congress, controlled by Republicans, could impeach him and remove him from office. Not at all likely. But again, the rule applies. If even members of this Congress come to fear us more than they fear Donald Trump and his cult, it's possible. More likely, however, is that Republicans get their ass kicked in the midterms, and the makeup of Congress is radically changed from what it is today in about a year and a half from now. Then it's a completely different conversation. Think of all the additional crimes and corruption, everything that's going to happen in the next year and a half. I mean, look back on just the last 6 months. Can't even imagine the crimes he will commit and that we'll find out about between now and then. So yeah, it is definitely possible. By the way, another way that he could leave office before the expiration of his term, aside from a cheeseburger taking him out, which I wouldn't mind, is forced resignation. I can foresee any number of scenarios where he is forced to resign. Rupert Murdoch and some of the other billionaire oligarchs, if they just decide we're done with this fucking guy, you know, there's plenty to blackmail this man with. They could go to him potentially over this Epstein thing and say, hey, you're done. You resign, we bury this stuff. The stuff that we have on you, it goes away forever. You just go live out your remaining days at Mar-a-Lago having your ass kissed. Enjoy all the millions and millions and millions of dollars you scammed from your cult and go be happy, and we'll bury all of this. Or we'll destroy you. Your choice. That's another way he can be forced from office. So you have impeachment and removal, forced resignation, magic hamburger. Well, it doesn't have to be magic, you know, a real hamburger. You know, a Big Mac could do the trick. One Big Mac and we can all be out of this. Anyway, so we have those things. Or, you know, we have to suffer through till the end of the 3.5 years. But once he's out of office, he can be prosecuted, even with the horrible Supreme Court decision giving him immunity. Hi. Hi. That immunity is not absolute. Point of fact, he would be on trial probably right about now if the American people had not stupidly reelected him. He'd be facing trial. Supreme Court's immunity decision didn't save him from the criminal indictments. They could have dismissed that case. They didn't. Anyway, the point is, he has committed a lot of crimes that cannot even arguably be said to be official conduct, official acts of the president. They're purely personal, for which he could be prosecuted. And by the way, even official acts are not absolutely immune. Only core constitutional function is absolutely immune. Official acts are presumptively immune, a presumption that can be rebutted. Anyway, he can be prosecuted. To me, that is the ultimate goal, because there has to be consequences for this. There has to be. If this man gets out with no consequences at all, ever, that would be, that still could be, in the long run, a fatal blow to this republic. There have to be consequences for what he's done. And I'll leave it with this. Whoever is the next Democratic nominee for president better damn well promise consequences to this criminal piece of shit. I don't want to hear about moving on. I don't want to hear about turning the pages. I want to hear consequences. I want to hear accountability. I want to hear the promise that this man will be prosecuted for his crimes, and don't pull a Merrick Garland, Joe Biden once you get there. If we elect a Democrat in 2028, he or she better damn well hold Donald Trump accountable. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get out of this heat.